a shoe that she had.
Wow.
A tennis shoe and a dress and some baked potatoes. She said that's all her mother told her that her mother gave her, and so the mother cried. And the man, he went on out. So she don't even know what they paid for her.
Who did they pay?
Yeah, she don't even know what this white guy got paid for her. It went on out, and that was it. She never went back to Virginia, never seen anybody. And when the war was over and they say the slave was over, they had to give them 40 acres of land and a mule. From that time they took her from, Virginia. Nobody know what date it was, what time it was. The only thing she know, they come there and took her. She was a grown woman and she already had 7 children.
Right. And they took the 12-year-old. When you were saying that they sold her, I mean, if this was a merchandise and I put out, some information that I'm selling this thing, whoever wants to buy it, but they weren't, your great grandma, they weren't looking, no one sold their children. No, you don't sell a human being. They bought her. She didn't sell. She wasn't selling.
She was sold.
Yeah, she was bought. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because she was not, what I'm arguing is that she didn't say, I want to sell my daughter. They came to buy.
No, they come to the white guy to buy.
Right.
Because they were slaves.
Right.
For this white guy.
Oh, so the people that came were black people?
No, they white people.
White people. That's what okay.
He come, but he didn't come and tell my mother.
Okay.
I want to buy your child.
Right.
The guy who owned them.
Oh, the guy he went to the slave owner.
Right.
That have all of them in the house, and oh my God.
And then he was the
child from
the slave owner was the one that come inside and spoke to her mother.
Yeah, I'm so sorry about that, because I didn't think right about that. Like,
and
why would they come and talk to your great grandmother? They want to buy the child. They went and spoke with the slave owner, where they were living, working for the slave master.
As what that guy said, you don't have no shame. White people don't have no shame. Really, they do not have any shame.
And no remorse.
They sold this guy for a horse. And he the one got America alive right now. The black guy. He was a doctor. He got to be a doctor. All this frozen food that you eating now. This slave did it.
Right.
Everything you see, he did it.
Right.
Sweet potatoes, peanuts. He even turned peanuts into butter.
Yeah, peanut butter.
This was a slave that did it, and they sold him for a horse.
They sold him in exchange for a horse.
Yeah.
God almighty.
They wanted to sell, and so they sold him for a horse. He was agriculture. That was his line. They wanted him to join this guy with the electrician. He said, that was what God told him to do.
To be a farmer.
He did all that vegetable. And he said, you remember the bumble? You don't remember, because I don't remember it myself. I was told.
What bumble?
They, boll weevils. Okay. Everything they plant, the boll weevils used to eat it up.
Okay.
The boll weevils used to eat it up. He said, God said, plant peanuts. So, he told him, plant peanuts. They plant peanuts. Nothing don't happen overnight. They plant peanuts. Or ain't nothing happen. They plant peanuts. They couldn't even plant nothing in the ground. He tell them, said, God said, plant peanut. Oh, God, they had more cotton than anybody could ever see. Nobody can tell, what happened or what they did. And I said, you mean to tell me you ain't got no shame? And they're gone running behind somebody like Trump.
That's
Trump don't have no shame.
Trump the devil.
He don't have nothing. And they run about, he's such a good guy.
Yeah.
He's such a good guy. That the civil thing don't go right in the country, you're supposed to protest. They tried to get the army to go out there and shoot all the people that was out there. That's why they turned against him.
In Charlotte, yeah.
He wanted to tell them to go out there and shoot him because he is president.
Mm-hmm.
So so they don't have no shame. They don't even know what shame is.
We'll continue the conversation, but I want to, when we talk about your great grandma that was sold at the age of 12, and then now there's so much talk about reparations. In our last conversation, I had asked you, and I want to ask you again on camera, if someone were to, I don't even want to use the word that I was thinking, what kind of compensation, when they talk about, you're so smart, I know you watch the news all the time, you know what's going on. When they talk about reparations, that they want to pay reparations for all the sins and all when we start from your great grandmother that was sold at 12, what kind of compensation can they pay your family? What amount of money that could make up for 4 generations that they sold your great grandma at 12 and they never saw her again? What would they pay for that?
They gave her 40 acres and a mule and her son.
You're your grandma now, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's my great grandma.
Okay.
Her children were born enslaved. But that way, all of them were free. But see, my grandmother was born after the slavery. She already had about 8 children when they was over. She was a grown woman.
Okay.
And today, they still got that land down south.
Mm-hmm.
The people that are on it now, they don't even know how they got it. But it's a Holman. One of her children, my grandma used to laugh when she used to tell us that. We thought it was funny. She said her mother told her she had her and a sister after the slaves. But all the rest of her family, she had mostly boys, was like born enslaved. She said she and her boys sat to the table. The girls were never in nothing. Said after they said they were free, and that's what they were getting, but they should have got more, but that's what they got. 40 acres and a mule. And her children, she said they sat to the table and they were talking. But my grandmother never mentioned her father.
Never mentioned her
Her
father.
mother and her brothers and her sister, she had mostly boys, you know what I mean? Because they said she had 20-some children.
Whoa.
And was never. And you see my niece that come in here, they said she was the size of her. But she had mine. She never told them the people name that bought her. So we used to say, well, they must be nice to her. She kept all her children. They never sell any of her children. And she said, her mother said she and her boys got to the table. And they wanted to pick a name. Maybe if she had picked the white people's name that bought her, we probably would have known the family who raised her.
Right.
But no.
She didn't want to
They picked their own name. And one of her sons didn't like it. Holman. He didn't like that. And my grandma said, her mother said, "You free now,
Mm-hmm.
and you gonna disobey what I'm telling you? Disobey enough? What I'm telling you? What we want? All the other boys want. He wanted that. She put him right away. You ain't no more my child." And got rid of him. They don't even know where he is. So I said to her, "Mama, what he wanted a name for?" He wanted Blue. Every time I hear somebody say Blue, I thought, "Oh God, that's my grandma's family." They never
Saw him again.
never speak of him, because she said he was not her child.
Because he went against the family wish.
She said, "You had to do everything somebody tell you to do now. We telling you and you disagree." I said, she got rid of him. She said, "Your grandma over here." I said, "I don't know. Only thing she knows, she got rid of him." You know. So we used to always say, "Well, I wonder if he was a white one."
Oh no.
You know, we used to laugh, but we didn't know what she be talking, because all the rest of them was black. I don't know what he was, because she got rid of him. And every time I would hear somebody say Blue, I said, "Oh, that mama family." But they still have that place down south, the Hallman, and it's like a village. I said, but it's too bad. See, only sons. The only way the daughters and things live there, they had to get a husband, and then man, he go and get for you. But only way a daughter can live there, she never get married. But if she got married, she had to leave there. Because the husband had to get. Because see, my grandmother, that was her family too. But she married, my grandfather, my mother's father. He got his own place. You know what I mean? But they do the girls bad though. But as long as you don't marry, you can stay there. So that place is always a Holman.
Yes. So talk about reparations again. What could they have paid your family for the last 400 years? I mean,
they couldn't pay you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They can give you something. But they couldn't pay. That's why they killed King, because he was on, they give us a bad check.
Right.
So they they knew that he was hitting at the right thing. You know?
So that's the conversation they're having now, right? Like
maybe one day, it probably, but I wouldn't be here.
Of course.
You know.
Because when people say we'll go back to Africa, or you're not American, or
But
what about that?
But anytime they start talk about going back, I said, it wasn't for the Africans, you would have been back where you come from. That's why I go back. At least I know where I come from. Where you come from, you don't even know. The average white person, they don't know where they come from. But they know you black, you go back to Africa. You go back. I said, well, at least I got someplace to go. You ain't stole everything from there. And you ain't stole everything from there. And they did. What all them diamonds and things in England.
Yeah.
Went there and take everything. But the only way they gonna real get together is stop killing each other. Now they got places in Africa, get you now, you be president. You had to do the same thing my grandmother said. You had to do what the white person said now, but you can't do what the black one say do.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now they killing up each other, shooting each other. I said, oh God, they ain't gonna never be free.
Right.
As long as you see the white people didn't shoot them people that come there in that place named Washington. You see they didn't shoot one of them, did they?
Right.
Right now.
With the insurrection,
But see, black people can't see that.
Yeah.
They ain't
Talking
gonna
about
shoot
insurrection,
up because they know black people is the most people
Generous.
in the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
See, that's why they want to shoot you up and kill you up. You know, white people is not the most people that's here. You know.
But at 97, and I'm going to close this for this section, or this session, I should say. At 97, if you were to talk to white people, whatever, who's supposedly in charge, and they want to give something back to black people to make up for, again, all these years of oppression and discrimination and racism, what would you tell white people? How should they give back? How should they give back to black people? In what form?
First place.
At 97, that you, Liam, I hope you leave, a few more healthy years, and when your time comes to pass on peacefully, what would you, looking back to how long you have lived, how can white people pay?
They can't.
Yeah, that's what I'm
They
trying
can't.
to.
Whatever they give you, like my mother always say, we work hard for that land that they had, that her mother and father had. She said, we work hard for that. White people got away with black people. You could run short, they would give you money. Because they know they're going to take what you got. You know what I mean? They would loan you. But you don't let people say, on my property. You know what I mean? Because you ain't ever going to pay that back. Because there's going to be something bad going on. My mother, her father had 58 acres of land of his own. And he and his brother, now this is what my mother say now, bought some property together. Now my mother, then there was only three. My mother, a brother, and a sister. You know, there were two sisters and a boy. But now, they didn't need no whole lot of land because they ain't had no whole lot of children to work no land. See? My mother had got mad because she said her uncle, her father's brother, had a wife. His wife died, and he had children. They split the children up. Had a girl that was her age. Her father raised her along with her. And they put the children at different places. And she said they were raised up, together. So the father and her father, which was the two uncles, the father and uncle, bought this land. And he come and tell he want his share out of it. See, back then, black people didn't let their children know in whatever was going on. They didn't put the children in with, the business.
Right.
The father, he was the business, and he. So my mother said, her father should have never mortgaged his land to pay him. She said, what he could hold on to that land for, he didn't need it. But his brother wanted his money. He mortgaged the whole thing to pay him. And he got sick. He was never able to do the land no more. He only had one son. You know what I mean? And he had nobody that land, and they lost it.
Wow.
Yeah. So, my mother said, well, that happened. I said that you was the oldest son. He said, I can't tell Papa nothing. He didn't listen to me. He the father, so what he was going, so they lost this,
So if they were to, I want to go back to that question quickly. If they were to pay, you said they couldn't pay. Yeah, I understand that. That there's no amount of money that would make up. But if they were to pay, again, 4 generations of your family for all the racism and the, discrimination and, they have robbed everyone. I mean, they never pay people enough for their work and their worth. And you're 97, you passed on, your nieces are still around. What would you say would be where would they start? How can they start to compensate or make up for the sins that they've committed,
And they
against
don't
black
care
people?
about it. They think black people ain't nothing. And when I think about it, when we used to go down there and we go, I would say to my niece, you see that? Where I was born, poor white people got bought the place. They say if a black person had ever went to the courthouse, they say like when your tax and thing get back that you can't pay, they always have it in the courthouse. Taxes back for their property. Those little poor white people will go there. And
To look to see
somebody would help them get it.
help them get the house.
No, they have to help them get the property. The
Right,
land
the property,
and
yeah,
stuff.
right. Because you owe taxes, so they will help them get
They
sell
help
your
them
property
get
to
it.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, and some go down there, they won't. So that's how my mother them lost theirs.
Wow, because they owe property taxes.
So now my mother's gonna prove my mother was a fighter though. Went down and bought her in the street. Yeah, she didn't go back out like in the, they call it the route. She didn't go back. She went into the town and bought a place there and built a house. It was nice. We used to go down there and stay in the house, but she couldn't stay down there by herself. She had to come back here and stay with one of my sisters here. And, people steal everything out the house. That's why when I go down south and I hear them talking about New York, I say, look, I don't want to hear nothing about New York, because down here just as bad as New York. You got to lock your door. They break in your house, take your things out the house. I bought a stove down there in the house for my mother. Later on the front street there looking, she said somebody went into the yard and went in the back and never come back. So I said, but why didn't you call the police? She said, me and her husband is old people, I said, they were had to know you did the calling. I said, you had a key to go in there, Went down there that next morning, she went down there, she called her dad, broke the back door open, and I said, ain't no need to try to keep no house, I got rid of it. You here and worrying about going there. People go in there just like how you got an apartment here now, somebody go in there and stay. They go in there and sleep. Next thing you know, they done burn it down, you get nothing for it. So I said, best way to sell it and get it over with.
So I'm gonna close this conversation for today. I'm really very grateful to you that you agreed to get on camera at 97. You're like, yes, I'll do it. You have your beautiful dress on. I'm really, really thankful and grateful to you, and I'll come back to talk to you again. So thank you so much for your time. And this has been Truth and Reconciliation with Buki Shanuga. This special series is with Mrs. Vogel, aka Girlie or Girlease. What do they call you?
Girlease.
Girlease, aka Girlease. Yeah, and this is Truth and Reconciliation. It's a podcast, and this is just a special edition of that podcast, Truth and Reconciliation with Bukola Shanuga, and this is the introduction into my conversation with Mrs. Vogel, and I've taped several conversations with her, and you'll be, I'll be happy if you can just listen to the rest of the conversation as I release them on Patreon. Thank you. See you next time.
And that town is Holly Hill.